Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick.
I'm Ian.
You are sitting across from me, Ian.
Yes.
As you will be for the remainder of this season.
Wow, that's a long time to sit across from you.
So we are actually winding down season 2 of the podcast here. So we have the episode this week. We'll have 3 more episodes after this episode comes out. And then we will be done until 2024.
Wow, that's a whole long time.
Yeah, so I think the way it ends up is I think it's like the week of Thanksgiving, I think, is our last episode.
Okay.
I'd have to actually look at a calendar, but I think it's either the week of Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving will be our final episode of the season, and then we'll come back the beginning of January.
Okay.
It's nice to just take a nice little break off and not have to do the podcast stuff, because obviously the podcast is we don't have a huge following on the podcast. It's done just basically just to have fun. So it's good to just take a little break from it every once in a while, because I'm so busy with the vinyl den. It just it's hard for me to do that and all the stuff I do for the podcast also. But
yeah, and I just need a break from you.
I will say that if you're listening to this or watching this on, I guess not really watching it, if you're listening to this on our YouTube channel, because I'll always put the audio up on there. We won't have video to put up this week, but I'll put the audio up. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and comment and all that stuff. I will say I think I'm a little behind on YouTube videos. I think I'm I still have the last 2 episodes of the podcast I still have to upload.
Oh,
so I know I've been slacking.
lazy bastard.
I know I've been slacking. Well, I was finishing up I just finished up my bachelor's degree, so I'm done with all the school stuff. So finally I got that out of the way, and so I should have more time to take care of that. But I will get all of that uploaded eventually.
I've been pretty busy too. I got up to 10,000 coins on my word game that I've been playing.
Yeah. You play a little game on your phone. Is that what
word games?
I'm not big into. I don't know.
I just do word games, and I recently started playing a math game. That's just keep the synapses going.
I don't really play a lot of games on my phone.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any game systems right now. I still have my N64.
Do you really?
Yeah, but it won't plug into the new TVs.
Oh, I'm sure there's some kind of.
I mean,
adapter.
they might. I don't know.
I'm sure they probably do.
Well, they're AV. I guess there might be AV plugs. I have to look and see.
There should be.
TV.
If not, I'm sure there's some kind of adapter. But you're not gonna play anything on it anyway. I'm surprised you even still have it. Why don't you sell that thing?
Because I have the game I want for it. It's Namco Museum. It's got Galaga on it.
Oh.
It's really the only reason I have it.
But you haven't played it in years. So what's the point of having it?
The point is that someday I may play it.
Okay. Someday when you figure out how to plug it.
It's not taking up a lot of space. It's in the box.
Yeah. What's in the box?
My N64. I just told you that.
Jackass. You know what I meant.
I do know what you meant. Yes, I know what you are saying.
So what else has been going on, man?
Nothing. Yeah. I was thinking about something.
Yeah,
but I didn't think really hard about it. But it made me giggle for a second. So I was watching I don't know if it was a TikTok or a reel on Instagram or something, and someone was making fun of someone else because punctuation matters.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about, what if you were to add punctuation to like movie titles?
They don't?
Not all the time, and generally no. So I thought about it, what would be a movie that would change the whole meaning of it if you added, say, a question mark?
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer. To I know what you did last summer? Changes the whole fucking meaning of the movie.
I guess so.
So punctuation does matter.
Yeah.
These are the things I think about when I'm trying to sleep.
Deep thoughts with Ian
thoughts,
Trumbo.
Yes. I started thinking about trying to find other movies, and I'm sure there's tons.
I'm sure there's a ton of them out
that
there
I could play with, but
yeah.
Maybe that'd be a good game for the audience to play with themselves.
Ooh.
I
don't want to hear about you playing
with
yourself.
I'm just saying, the baby Jesus doesn't like it when you play with yourself. But if you play a word game with yourself like that, he might be a little.
I don't know if it was a comedian or whoever it was. It was a video. It really wasn't all that funny, but mentioning the whole baby Jesus thing, they were talking about when they were in Catholic school, talking about masturbation. They said it was this weird guy of course, some weird guy
Of course,
in the school.
yeah.
He was talking about how the sin isn't really the masturbation part. It's it was a comedian because she said like her whole life she was masturbating wrong. Because she said that this guy said it wasn't really the act of masturbation that was the sin. It was what were you thinking about? The sinful act of what you're thinking about is the true sin. So she was like when I'm growing up, I'm masturbating to like nothing in my head. She said I'm masturbating wrong. But that was the whole part of it was obviously a lot funnier when she said it, but
Yeah.
it just made me think of that when you're talking about the old sleeping baby Jesus.
Well, I mean, touching yourself apparently makes him cry. But
I
wouldn't know.
Speaking of things that make me cry, so I recently went and saw a movie that we recently talked about here on the podcast.
We didn't talk in great detail about it, though. We just mentioned that it was coming out, right?
Correct. When we talked about our upcoming October releases, we talked about the movie Five Nights at Freddy's. And like I didn't have high expectations going into this movie.
And boy, did it not disappoint.
Oh my God, did it not disappoint.
In low expectations.
Very low. And I guess I would say that it's probably, obviously if you don't know what the movie is about, it's Five Nights at Freddy's was a video game, like a horror video game that was really popular for a couple of years. Kids and teenagers really liked it. I always thought it was kind of dumb. My kids played it for a good couple of years, but they made a whole movie out of it. And the movie, first off, it's PG. It's a PG-13 movie, so right there it tells you.
Strike one.
Yeah, it's a big strike right there. Every horror movie should be
R-rated.
For the most part, should be. I mean, with a few experts.
We kind of talked a little bit. The only movie I can think of really offhand that's PG-13 that's actually decent, it's a horror film, is The Lady in White.
Yeah.
And because it's not, the creepy factor still works, but that's like a very rare exception.
And even like, obviously, like they're like older horror movies are classics, and those aren't R-rated, but
well, no, they are. They're just R-rated by the standards of that.
Yes.
They'd be PG-13 by today's standards.
Yes, exactly. So, so of course, like those movies, I guess would be an exception also. But like, it was disappointing, and I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but like the whole premise, like, do you know anything about it? Like Five Nights at Freddy's was
I haven't watched it yet. I'll watch it for free on Peacock.
Yeah. I didn't know if you knew anything about the game. That's what I was
I played it
once
with you guys.
Okay. So it's about like haunted animatronics, right? Mm-hmm. But like in the movie, like I thought it was going to be like the animatronics were these like creepy killers, which I think that would have been.
Oh, they're not? I thought that's what they were. What it was.
Yes, but they're not. They're also like friendly ghosts that are like friends with the girl that comes in that is there with her dad. Her dad's like the he just got hired on as a security guard, a nighttime security guard for this place.
Okay.
And like, well, one night he doesn't have a babysitter for his sister, so he brings his sister to this creepy ass place. And like,
dad or brother?
I'm sorry. So it's the main character
is Josh Hutcherson.
Yes, and that's his little sister.
Okay.
So
he seems awfully young to be a dad.
Yeah. No. So it's him and his sister, his little sister. But like the ghosts in the animatronics like his sister, so they're like playing games with her and like drawing together and like I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like this is bad. And I won't give away like the main. Obviously, that's a little bit of a spoiler there, but like I won't give away like the main parts of the movie. But I literally within the first 10 minutes. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, I can tell you exactly what is going to happen throughout this entire movie, and I was not wrong. Like it has to be one of the most telegraphed horror movies I've seen in a long time.
I don't know. The Village was pretty telegraphed.
Was it?
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, it's his movies aren't. I mean, obviously there's exceptions to it. A lot of his movies are not good. Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan has a lot of like movies where I think. He thinks more of himself than his talent really shows on screen.
Maybe. Well, he captured lightning in a bottle with the Sixth Sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all went to his head, probably.
But I mean, Unbreakable was a good movie.
Yeah, but that was its follow up. So I mean, he was still riding high. But
yeah,
he
but
hadn't achieved,
Split was really good. Glass
but
was
that
really
was
good.
later. All the movies that come in between. Signs, which I didn't like. Some people do. It has a fan base. The Village was utter trash. Like I said, I figured it out 10 minutes into the movie.
I think
I fell asleep for 35 minutes. Woke up right when I was like, oh, I'm right.
Yeah, I think I only saw The Village once, and it wasn't good. Which one was the one with the trees?
That was The Happening.
Oh, okay. The Crappening.
The Crappening. Yeah, I got my boss at the video store coined that. I had to.
It's perfect because that movie's
crap.
Bad.
It is.
It's bad.
Lady in the Water. I mean,
I don't think I ever saw that one.
I didn't finish it. It was that bad.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know if he directed. I think he produced it or wrote it. The Devil takes place in an elevator.
Okay.
That's supposedly okay, but I never saw it because I just can't watch his movies.
Yeah.
His last Airbender movie was terrible, and I'm not even an Airbender fan.
I think what was like most disappointing about the movie, and I understand that from what my kids have told me, because I took my kids and my wife to go see the movie. My kids told me that it's like how the movie plays out is how the video games went also. Mm-hmm. But man, I was like, I feel like there was so much potential in that movie that they could have done where it was like, even like some of they tried to do, because in the video game there's jump scares, right?
Yeah.
They tried to do it in the movie, and it's like I'm watching this movie and like I knew 10 seconds before the fucking jump scare
that it was coming. Like it was. Is it as bad as like the cat jumping out of the closet kind of thing?
Kind of.
Yeah, that sucks. No one knows how to do a good jump scare. The last good jump scare I saw was probably in The Conjuring, the first one.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, it's kind of a jump scare, but it's kind of not. It's kind of beyond a jump scare. But I don't know if you've seen it, but a scene where she's by herself in the house, she hears something in the basement, she's locked in the basement, right by the door.
I don't see what you're talking
and
about.
she lights the match, and there's the clap game, and the hands come out of the dark and clap behind her, and the light goes out. Yeah. That's a beautiful jump scare.
Yeah.
But
with Five Nights at Freddy's though, it was almost like. The jump scare was almost kind of like comical also because they literally did the exact same jump scare with the exact same person and the exact same thing that was supposed to scare you twice. They did the exact same jump scare twice. I'm like, I knew it the first time. I sure as fuck knew it the second time. Like,
well, I mean, there's going to be a sequel because the movie made really good money this weekend.
That's unfortunate.
It made more than its budget in this first weekend.
Yeah, so. That's. I mean, it was probably one of the most disappointing movies I've seen in a long time.
Like I said, I'll watch it on Peacock for free.
Yeah.
So.
Well, watch it and then tell me how bad it is.
Okay.
And I will say, like, the movie experience itself was not good because we went like one of the first showings at like. It was like 3:30 on Friday, I think is when we saw it. No, 3:30 on. It was 3:30 on Thursday.
Okay.
Like opening day. And there's like a bunch of teenagers that like had to get shushed about 17,000 times during the movie, and like, during parts of the movie they started like screaming and clapping and just acting like fucking jack-offs in the movie theater.
Damn kids!
Yeah.
Get off my lawn!
I was like, this is why I go to like 9:30 showings on a Sunday morning,
right?
Like,
or even during the week when the kids are in school,
yeah,
or in the summertime they're sleeping anyway. Yeah. So,
but so it's just unfortunate. I wanted it to be a good movie. I thought it was going to be okay, and it was
some of the trailers that I've seen have looked decent. I wouldn't have thought they would be that bad, but
yeah,
and
even there's
just kind of the state of horror right now.
And there's like multiple points in the movie where it's supposed to like surprise you what's going on, and like you're supposed to be like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, and it was like I figured it out fucking 40 minutes ago. Like it was. I
mean,
just
to
bad.
be fair, like when it comes to horror movies, I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur, but I've seen more than normal share of horror films, so it takes quite a bit to surprise me.
Yeah.
I don't generally judge a movie based on its predictability when it comes to that kind of thing, especially horror. And being a fan of slasher horror specifically,
Yeah.
There's generally not a lot of surprises.
And,
But
and that's what I'm saying though. Like I am not that kind of person. I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
right.
And like that's why I'm saying like if I fucking figured it all out,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But,
It is unfortunate. But we could talk about a better horror movie.
Yeah. So
two.
figure. So this is actually a topic we were supposed to talk about. I don't know,
2 weeks
a
ago.
couple weeks ago. But in typical us fashion, we get sidetracked talking about 1,000 other things, and then
Not to sidetrack again, but did you know that us is the same as the U.S.? It's spelt the same.
you're a dumbass.
Donald Trump. He
What?
said that in a fucking speech.
What?
Yes, he just because he said, I just noticed on the teleprompter, us, U.S. And he made a big deal about it.
Is that like is it Us Weekly or US Weekly?
I don't know. All I'm saying is that he made a big deal about how us, as
It's
in his
spelled
group,
it's spelled US.
yeah, it's U.S. He goes, that must mean something.
Well, I mean, he is a fucking moron. So
Right. I'm just, I don't know. Because you said us, and I was like, us, U.S.
only you to bring up Donald Trump, Ian. Your favorite person.
He is. He's, we're good friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's good because he's going to be the next president.
Yeah,
So
he's got my interests at heart. You know, I don't know what they are.
that you have no heart.
No, because I said that, and then I started thinking, like, what interest does he really have? And I don't even want to joke about that.
Yeah.
But anywho,
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something more a little upbeat than
yeah,
than Donald fucking Trump. So
the story of a 6-year-old boy who murders his sister.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like we're this week, the week this comes out is gonna be the week. A couple days later, actually the next day is Halloween, and we
Ooh,
yeah,
spooky time.
yeah, ooh, that was horrible. But but so we both grew up fans of the movie Halloween. Of course, horror movies in general from the late 70s through the 80s and early part of the 90s were great in my opinion. Even like the really stupid campy ones.
The dumber ones were just as good and definitely better than some of the highbrow ones that come out today.
Except for House 2. Like House 2 is not.
It's not really a horror movie. It's more of a comedy with zombie cowboys.
Yeah, but so we're gonna talk about the movie series or movie franchise Halloween, because it's both one. It's one that I think you've always been a bigger Halloween fan than I have.
Halloween's always been like my top tier.
Yeah,
of the
I've always been a
films.
bigger fan of Friday the 13th. I love the Friday the 13th movies, so we could do this. We could do the same thing with Friday the 13th.
Oh, of course.
So we're going to talk about some of our favorite, or kind of, I guess, rank the Halloween
Yeah.
movies themselves. But
Yeah, I figured. Well, the way I did it on my list was I went worst to best.
okay,
So we could just kind of start with what you think is the worst of the 13.
go ahead. I think. You want to start with me? Go ahead and start with you, because I'm sure you probably won't agree with mine. But
Probably not. But then again, who knows? So my worst is Halloween Resurrection.
yeah, you want to know something? Like, it's probably not mine, but I definitely see why. I was not a fan of it either.
So it's a movie that had a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
But
Because that was the first movie with Jamie Lee Curtis back in it, right?
No, it's the second one.
Second one. Okay.
She dies. Spoilers, because these movies.
We're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen all these movies. And if you haven't, you should. Shame on you.
Right. So she dies in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Because she was
Oh, that's
contractually
right, that's
obligated
right.
to come back, but
Yes.
they wrote her out. So they killed her off in the first 10 minutes. The potential was it was kind of going back to basics, and you had cut your ties with the Jamie Lee Curtis, the Laurie Strode character. So you can kind of go in many different directions.
Yeah.
And the direction they chose was Busta Rhymes kung fu kicking Michael
Yes.
Myers. Sorry, doesn't work. There's some really good shots in that movie. There's some really good elements to that movie. But overall, most of the characters are unlikable. You want to see them die. You don't see them die well.
Yeah.
In true slasher film fashion. And again, you've got Busta Rhymes doing kung fu on Michael Myers.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah, I would probably agree with you then, because you're right. And I haven't seen that one in a long time. I think we saw that in the theater.
We went and saw it opening night.
That was like 2002 when that came
Yeah.
out. And I think even like when we saw it,
We
wasn't-
both walked out of the theater going, oh, I don't know how to feel about this.
You're right. Yeah, it's the choice of actors was not great. The plot was not great. I think you're right. It's a movie that had potential.
Yeah, there was. I mean, they were trying to cash in on the found footage thing, single person camera kind of thing, and even that was utilized poorly. I think the movie might have been better if they had gotten rid of that altogether. To be completely honest with you, but it's the Busta Rhymes thing, and I don't know why they even did that. I mean, I'm not saying Busta Rhymes is a bad actor. I mean, he is, but
it wasn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary. And honestly, if they had toned his character back and made him less of a caricature, it might have been okay. But talking about telegraphing, near the beginning of the movie, when you first introduced his character, he's watching a kung fu movie on TV and doing doing the karate thing. And that you're supposed to believe that he could do that on Michael Myers?
Yeah.
And Michael Myers is just going to fucking take it?
Yeah.
No.
No, you're right. What? So what's the next one you got?
Is that your
Yeah. No. I after discussing with you, I agree with it.
So
I
got to look at my list because and Tyra Banks, come on.
Yeah, it was like I said. Some of the
and you didn't even get to see her die. You just saw her body. After that.
Some of the choices for actors and actresses and some of the plot points in there, I think, were definitely huge swings and misses.
Yeah. So my next, again, going from worst to best, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1.
Yeah.
Because it's all about missed potential. But he's going in there and he's gonna remake Halloween. And his idea of remaking it is basically saying that Michael Myers is the way he is, mostly because he came from a white trash upbringing. His mother's a stripper. His dad is gone. His mom's live-in boyfriend is, I don't know. He's got a cast on. He says he can't work, but then there's no description of why he's like that.
Yeah.
But he screams and yells, and everyone's, he. In one scene, he basically tells Michael's mother that he will skull fuck the shit out of her because she called him a lazy piece of shit or something.
I don't remember that part of it.
I
was not a fan
That's
of
Rob
that movie.
Zombie's dialogue. So let me put it to this way: if you had changed leave everything exactly the same as he made it, but changed all of the names and put a different mask on the killer and called it something else, it would have been fine.
It would have been fine
because it just would have been a Rob Zombie slasher film.
Yeah.
And I'm down with that. But you have to, if you put all that on top of Halloween, it just doesn't fucking work.
Which year was that came out?
2007.
Okay.
And so, his idea of remaking is trying to explain Michael Myers, and that's his explanation for it. And then the last half of the movie, that's the first half. The last half of the movie is just a remake of the original, but again with Rob Zombie's dialogue. There's some good stuff in there. There's the scene where he's chased Laurie Strode into the old Myers house, and she's hiding because the house is all decrepit and everything. She's hiding in the in between the walls, like in the space between walls, and she climbs up and she's like up there, and he realizes it, and he takes a board and he's like smashing the ceiling trying to get her. That's a pretty powerful scene. And then she falls, and then he runs at her. They fall off the balcony. All that stuff's good because it's intense. And that's when it comes to that kind of thing, if you're going to remake Halloween, the original Halloween is very suspense-driven, slow, and intentionally slow. So the only way you can really up the ante is to intensify the violence, which he does do that. But he's intensifying the vulgarity and everything. People curse. I get that. But no one talks the way his movie characters
It's over
talk.
the top.
Yeah. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why he insists on doing that. It works for his
other movies.
His Firefly trilogy.
Yeah.
It works for that because that's the type of people that they are, that he wrote them to be. But it's in all of his fucking movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But anyway, that's my next worst on the list.
Okay. So I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to cheat yet. I will agree with you on that one, because you're right. I only saw it once. I was not a fan. I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie's movies anyway. So I'll second worst. I'll agree with you on that one.
Or yeah, I mean worst to best. So
Yeah.
it's a step above Resurrection. So
Yeah.
that's about
Yeah. So go ahead with your next one, because I completely agree with you.
Okay. Well, my next one is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Okay.
Now, that is only higher on the list because at least it's Rob Zombie.
Actually, I think I would flip-flop those two.
Well, and there's a lot of people
list.
that would, because at least the remake version of that, where he's basically just reshooting Halloween, redeems H1 for him in some people's eyes. I think Halloween 2 is better just because there's no studio interference, because, I mean, ultimately, he probably would have made a different movie for his first Halloween, his remake. The fact that he basically copied the last half of the movie, which is essentially the full remake of the original, was probably more studio involvement than anything else. So at least H2 is his film. Obviously, all of those same problems exist.
Yeah. Well,
but it's different.
And I let me backtrack on what I said. I would not flip flop them. I was thinking we were going best to worst. I think like some of the issues I have with his first Halloween movie, he kind of fixed, and it wasn't as bad in Halloween 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's when he tries to get like intellectual about it too. There's a little bit of that in the first one, but adding in the pale white horse thing and his mom talking to him from the dead and all that stuff, it's too intellectual for a Rob Zombie film.
Yeah.
Not to say it's too intellectual for him, it's just too intellectual for his movies.
Yeah.
And those are the movies he makes. He's got to, own it. But there's things about H2 that I do enjoy slightly better than
the first
one. Specifically, Danielle Harris's character, Annie. She plays Annie. In the first one, it's not said that she survives, but it's kind of implied that she survived.
Yeah. And
she does. And obviously in the original, she doesn't. She is a more reasoned character, developed character in H2 than the main character of Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode, he makes basically into his own normal Rob Zombie type character, whose motivations are just, they don't make sense. Yes, she suffered a trauma. So did Annie. They're dealing with it differently. That's okay. But she's dealing with it as if she's the only person in the whole fucking world that suffered because of this. Yeah. And Annie did too. Honestly, Danielle Harris's performance in that movie saves that movie for me. Just in terms of making it watchable.
Yeah.
And Brad Dourif as the sheriff, because he's brilliant anyway. The scene that's where it's like there's parts of and this happens a lot in most of his movies. There's always this one moment where he shoots this scene in just a way where you go, if he could do that more often, he'd be a fantastic fucking director.
Yeah. There's glimpses.
Yeah. So in the scene where Annie does finally die, and it's because that's the sheriff's daughter, and he finds her again, Brad Dourif performance, but it's shot in such a way where you truly feel that emotion, and it's like, why can't you just fucking do this all the time?
Yeah.
You're obviously capable of doing it, but again, if you change the names, that's it. That's all you have to do is change the names and change the mask. And the mask is pretty much changed it anyway.
Yes, it is.
Because it's basically falling off of his fucking head.
Yeah.
Change all that, and it's a good movie. Keep the Halloween name on it, and it's not.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree with you. I'm actually surprised we've agreed so far. But and actually, I will say that you've changed my opinion slightly on some of the movies, though, because some of those, like the movies we've talked about so far, I have not seen in either a while or I've only seen them once or twice. So, I agree with you. I think, like Halloween 2 is better than Halloween
only
1.
slightly.
Only slightly, though. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
But there's a lot of people out there who feel the exact opposite.
They
think H2 is too pretentious and too different. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, I get their points, because like I said, it's way too intellectual for him to do, and he doesn't pull it off well because he's just not good at translating that stuff. So
I guess I see that. Okay. Which one do you got
The
next?
next one on the list is, and I hate to say this because I actually love the movie, despite its flaws, but Halloween 5.
Oh. I actually like that one, but
Well, I can tell you why it falls so low. So it's coming off of Halloween 4.
I will say I think Halloween 5 was the first one I saw in the theater, I believe.
Okay, so that was
'Cause I remember
89.
the poster with the girl in the clown outfit.
Yeah, that was 5. So it comes off of Halloween 4, literally less than a year after. It was a rushed film, and Halloween 4 had such a iconic cliffhanger ending. And I get it. They didn't really know what to do with it. There was no plan to do anything with it. It was just done. So you have filmmakers coming in who have to basically follow this. From that point, I get the mistakes they made. And those mistakes I don't actually mind. Those are fine. Where you basically just kind of forget about that ending in a sense, and it was a one-off, and she's better, but she's mute, and she's, obviously now she's got some psychic connection to Michael. It's fine. That doesn't bother me. But you also have a director whose English is not his first language.
Yeah.
He comes from a very artsy film type background. And his idea is that now the Myers house must be a big mansion instead of a, regular house in the middle of Illinois. He throws in this man in black character for no fucking reason. Which is fine. I like the mystery of it because I figured, well, they've got a plan. They didn't have.
They didn't have. Yeah,
And you change Michael's mask.
Yeah.
Completely. You have Michael. The explanation for getting him out of the ending that they left for him in the fourth one is that he climbs out of this hole and gets swept up in a river, ends up with this hermit and lives and falls and stays asleep for a year.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see some of your points there, and it's like, I get how you say that it was a rushed movie. And
It was.
But I will say, like, there are points in the movie where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I didn't quite understand what the end game was.
Right. Well, they didn't have an end game, really.
Yeah.
And then so with the hermit thing. There was a whole other sequence shot there where it wasn't the hermit. It was this like weird crazy guy called Dr. Death.
Yeah.
And I mean, the environment's the same, but it's implied that he does some like voodoo magic thing. You don't see it, but it's implied. And that's what keeps Michael alive, which maybe is better. I don't know. I've seen the cut footage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's better. I don't think it's better, but it's not really worse either. So they just rushed it, and I think in a you don't go with a artsy director for a fifth movie, fifth installment in a franchise.
I guess I see that. Yeah.
Sometimes it works out visually, having like Stephen Hopkins direct Nightmare 5.
Mm-hmm.
You got some interesting visuals from that. Bad script, but interesting visuals. You don't really get interesting visuals from Dominique. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what the guy's name was. I just had it pulled up here a second ago. It was. Oh, I don't know how to say that guy's name. Dominique.
Othen Gerard.
Yeah.
Othen Gerard.
Othenen?
Othen and Gerard.
Yeah.
And he had, when he was brought on, he had all these like weird ideas of like Frankenstein's monster and Michael being misunderstood, and thankfully he didn't go that far.
Oh, geez, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, so thankfully he didn't go that far, but it's just not a visually appealing film.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like fall, and it's because it's when it was shot, but most of them are not shot in the fall, and they, several of them look fantastically like fall.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like fall. It looks like the middle of summer. Like I said, they changed the entire mask. Why? It's less than a year. You can just reuse the fucking mask.
Yeah.
But they couldn't because they had insisted on changing the actor who plays Michael, which again was stupid, but that's neither here nor there.
It's also the lowest grossing film in the franchise.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
And I don't know, maybe I've got like rose-colored glasses on because it was the first one I saw in the theater, maybe, but
I still enjoy watching it. I do watch it all the time.
Yeah.
It's part of the Thorn trilogy, which is the Return, Revenge and Curse of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
So it's necessary for that to be called a trilogy. I still watch it. I still enjoy it. But it is a very, very flawed film.
Yeah. Okay. So
What's in your spot for that?
So I'm cheating. I'm going to cheat and you aren't going to like this. I'm going to lump 3 fucking movies together. And that is Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. I do not like the, acting like all these other movies didn't happen.
Right.
I didn't like how much they changed the story. I probably have more issues with Halloween than the other 2. I just don't think I don't know.
They call it Halloween 2018. Just for,
fine.
For
Yeah, because there's 3 fucking Halloween movies. But
there's Halloween and then Halloween.
there's Halloween, then there's Halloween 2007, and then Halloween 2018.
Right. I'm not so worried about because those are just Rob Zombie. That's Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I know, but there's 3 of the same name. But anyway, you're right. The 2018 Halloween. I think I've got more issues with that. But
I have a counterpoint, but go ahead.
Go ahead with your counterpoint.
Well, so you have to understand that the main reason why they did it, and I understand